Hey there everybody, Octavian here. This is going to be a short little unscripted video because I haven't really had the time to write out a full script for this, but it's simply going to be demonstrating a new Shaper mod that I found on rare gear, particularly rare shields, that can be really, really powerful, as well as going over sort of what I think of shaped and elder gear on the whole, rather. And a piece of advice to people who are looking to incorporate Shaper and Elder Gear into their build. Now, the item in particular that I am referring to is this shield right here. It is skinned with the Rise of the Phoenix, but it's just a rare shield that's been Shaper touched. I got this for about 60 Chaos, which I think is in absolute steal, because it's basically the Surrender. For those of you who don't know, the Surrender is a unique shield that gives you, I believe, around 250 life recovered on block, a flat amount. You get enough life, and this last mod on this shield, recover 4% of your maximum life when you block, will be about as good as that, if not better. At the point where I'm at in my build, it is slightly less life than a Surrender would give me, but the upside is that a Surrender only has 60 life, whereas this has 110, or if you get another one with a better roll, you can get higher, though life doesn't really go that much higher on a shield than this. And you can also get resistances, you could get spell damage, you could get other Shaper mods. But that brings me to my last point. This shield was actually not too terribly difficult to obtain. I saw this roll and my build needed some recovery, so I figured it would be really powerful. So I started trying to craft it myself with a live search up to buy it if someone else happened to list it. And so I did buy it from someone else. But simply alting your way on a base with, you know, the res, which I needed, but you could go for a spell damage base or a move speed base, into that roll plus, say, life, and then regaling a resist, and then crafting another resist, and having a usable shield with this affix, should be very easy to do. We don't know the rarity of each individual roll, but in the process of alting this shield, I did hit it 2 or 3 times, just didn't get particularly lucky with the regal. So it should be very, very, very achievable, and I think that's what you should be going for with Elder and Shaper items. In general, there's a pretty short list on each base of rolls that are really good on their own. For instance, helmets can get base critical strike chance for socketed gems, which could be really useful. Helmets can also get percentage of block chance applied to spells. Amulets can get that. Helmets can just get spell block chance. There's a lot of different valuable individual rolls like that. And I've seen a lot of people focusing on weapons. I don't know, let's see if I have an example. I'm sure I do. Weapons like maybe this dagger that gives you level 20 spell cascade, level 20 increased critical strikes, spell damage, crit strike chance. It all seems really, really good, but you have to get the perfect storm for that to work. If you want that 6-link one-hander or 5-link one-hander or whatever, you have to get those 2 links, and then there's a huge onus on the weapon to also roll good PDPS or also roll good spell crit or something like that. And you're just asking for the moon at that point. And yes, those will exist, but they'll be super expensive, and you may not want to try and plan to incorporate those into your build. Don't try and build around them. Treat them as a happy accident if they pop into your life. Whereas something like this mod on this shield is, to some degree, build defining. It's not really by itself enough recovery, but that combined with the flat recovery I'm getting from Kikazaru's, for instance, as well as some percent on the tree, has made this build feel just the next level of tanky. And I'm actually going so far as to invest in block chance with Arumi's concoction and block chance on some of these abyssal jewels that I'm getting, 2% per. So I've got 2 of those here, some on the passive tree, and I'm almost at block cap while I have my Arumi's up if I've been hit recently. And to demonstrate the build, to demonstrate just how powerful this shield effect is for recovery, I am going to be running a map here. I shaped Infested Valley. A lot of people have been asking me what maps I should shape on stream. Oh, we've got an offer. I think that's actually one of the items that I listed on the most recent price check episode, so. And we'll go ahead and run some fairly high-end content. This is a T13 map that's got about 22% pack size and not too terribly rippy mods. But yeah, particularly in this league, this shield mod is incredibly good, because Abyss monsters often hit with multiple attacks in quick succession, and so if you have good enough block chance, maybe the first attack gets through, but the second attack gets blocked, and there you go. That second attack just recovered most of the life you got off the first. And it gets pretty crazy pretty quickly in large packs. Now, this recovery method is not super good against bosses, but this is just simply one example. My larger point here is that when trying to build around Shaper and Elder items, you should be looking for Shaper and Elder effects that are really good if it's just that one effect and then a life roll and a resist roll, because that's very achievable. You know, that's never going to be stupid expensive because you can craft it yourself. Hitting a effect where you only have the 3 rolls, well, that's just alt, aug into regal. And so long as you're intelligently crafting, you're alt spamming for the hardest of the rolls to hit. So in this case, you want to be alting until you hit, say, life and the Shaper mod, as most Shaper mods are suffixes. Well, this one is in particular. That statement is not strictly true. But you can find a full list of Shaper and Elder mods and whether they're suffixes or prefixes at PoE Affix. I'll link to the site in the description and the page in particular. But yeah, you just know whether or not you have a prefix or suffix on your hands that you're aiming for. That's the Verici mission. Keep the hostage alive. Okay, cool. You know whether or not you have a prefix or suffix that you're aiming for. And as you can see, my blockchain is popping off very frequently. I'm just recovering a pretty significant chunk of health every time, around 200 or so, I think, is what we're at right now. As my max life goes up, that amount recovered is going to go up too. Where's Verici? There you are, buddy. And if you're just intelligent about the way that you craft, you should be able to achieve, you know, a shield with this mod, or a helmet with the base crit mod, or just one shaped or elder mod and a resist and a life roll pretty reliably. You know, it's probably not something you put in your first setup as soon as you hit maps, but you can definitely plan to have it in your late game build, and it would be really, really easy to achieve if you are willing to put the time into, you know, crafting that one particular item and focus on it. And some of these effects, my god, some of these effects definitely are worth focusing on. I mean, this shield single-handedly took my build from feeling, you know, decent and high damage in maps, decent survivability simply because of totems, to being just a monstrous tank that can just face tank, you know, abysses, breaches, all of that good stuff. I still have problems with some of the higher level bosses, particularly degens, since there's not going to be any blocks going on in a degen. Oh, we got a Kyula breach. And so, like, very, very dangerous degenerative effects are nasty. So I've gone for the Pantheon power that gives me extra damage over, or gives me resistance to damage over time, as well as resistance to caustic clouds and poison immunity. But that's, you know, of course, very specific to this character. I think we got him a meth. And as you can see, this map has gotten pretty damn hectic, and the build really just hasn't felt too squishy at all. If people are interested, I can do a video on this build. The core concept of the build is not my own, which is why I've been hesitant to do a video on it. I've taken a lot of liberties with the build as I found it. Found it in a build guide on the forums. Is that an abyss that I accidentally popped? God damn, these things are so hard to see. And so I've not wanted to make a video on it because I don't want to give the impression that I'm trying to steal content. This is someone else's build for the most part. The core concept being that you use 2 Kikazarus and the Guardian sub-ascendancy from Scion to become fully curse immune. And then that allows you to use Soul Mantle for an additional totem and free level 20 spell totem support. So, like, this 5-link is actually sort of a 6-link because I have the free level 20 spell totem. However, I've been fiddling with it. Usually you go mind over matter. Usually you take a lot more crit nodes in the tree. With some of the new gear, I've been able to forego that. I've been able to forego a lot of different things in the build, and at this point, with enough changes, I think it is justifiable to make some content on it. I missed some monsters back here, it seems. But yeah, all that aside, my main point this video, which I strayed a little bit away from towards the end there, is that it's probably a good idea to find a single Shaper or Elder role that alone, without the need of lots of other Shaper and Elder roles alongside it to make it really busted, can have a large impact on your build, and then try and fit that in your build. And self-crafting it is definitely a viable option, provided you are, you know, intelligent with the way that you're crafting your gear, and prioritizing with your lower tier currency the rarer role, by which I mean alting for the Shaper or Elder role, and then regaling only on that. But with all that said, and all that done, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and hopefully I'll have a more coherent video out on this character in the future if there's enough interest. I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed.